So didn't have, my wife has a lot of the rubber, small, thin rubber gloves that you'd see the doctors use. She doesn't have anything that's going to fit my hands. So I grabbed these guys, which I always keep under my workbench, and this is what I use for pretty much the same type of glove we use in my last shop for auto fuel and heavy chemicals. But we're going to be using these today. I use these for cleaning my bike. So we're just going to use them for this. So get your gloves on. You don't want to be, chains are really super greasy. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to be back. I'm going to look for a quick link. And I could put this, normally if I was working on this I would use my dummy hub. For the fact that this thing is so filthy, I don't really care to use it. So let's see here. I'm looking for a, I will probably not use this chain again, just for the fact that it's in pretty bad shape to begin with, and probably doesn't have a quick link, I guess. So what I'm going to do first is, before I actually do this, before I remove the chain, I'm going to pull off, because it's hard for me to look at it, it's hard for me to spin it around. I'm going to start, and I'm going to pull off the rear mech, and we're going to go from there. So I'm going to grab my 5mm once again, and we're going to just remove the rear mech. It should remove pretty easily like this. So we're going to come over here, and this pinch bolt here, if you can see, this one is not a socket, or this is not an Allen key. It's a socket, so we're gonna come over here, and I believe that guy is a, let's see here. Oh. I'm not sure if it is a metric or, oops, sorry, move the camera. I gotta reach in my toolbox here, so I'm getting right next to the camera. My camera's sitting right next to my toolbox. Nope, it's not that one. There we go. Let's try this guy now. Possibly. Yep, there we go. So we got our metric screwdriver. We're gonna get a small wrench. This is a little 1/4 inch. Okay, so we pull out the cable. Okay, so we pull out the cable at this point, and as you can see, this thing's pretty messy, pretty big mess here. So what we're going to do to take the cable off is, we have two, I believe, are those 4 or 3? But those are, yep, they're 3 3mm bolts. Better not like be 3.5. Oh man, that'd be really sucky. Oh, 3. So I'm actually going to take the jockey wheels apart. This thing is absolutely gross. Now, if I was going to put this back together and use this group set again, I would want to clean it, but we're not. And there goes one of the bearings. As you can see, messing with my hand, right? Come over here and pick up my parts. Oh, the parts are all over the garage. What you can do, if you really want to, is you can take your bucket here, get yourself a bucket, whatever. There you go. So now the chain is off. There's part of the jockey wheel I'm missing. Oh, there it is. So, like a road jockey wheel, on the back, you're going to have a little bushing, and you're going to have the jockey wheel, and then you're going to have two metal pieces that keep the bushing in place. Okay, and that's what those guys look like there. But if you notice, this jockey wheel is massive compared to. Okay. So. And I'm still trying to get some leverage. Hold this jockey wheel open. Unlike the road ones, okay. So I'm going to put this in here so you can see it's all scratched and beat up. It's got steel parts on it. It's all scratched and beat up, everything. So, put that in there. Okay. Now we got our chain loose, but you're still not going to get it off, right? Because it's still wrapped around your it's still wrapped around the chainstay. So what you want to do, sorry, I had to grab something over in the corner. So what you want to do is we're going to look for a quick link. And if there is no quick link, which I have a feeling there isn't, this bike, we're going to break it. So I got a really dirty cloth here, and I am looking for a quick link. Got a feeling I'm going to find. Yep. There is no quick link on this guy. So we got to break it. The guy's going to have to get broken. So this is where we pull out, and I have a dirty one of these guys. I'm going to go over to my toolbox. To the top, I have a chain brake tool. I have a multi-tool that has a chain brake on it. So pull this guy out. So, see, that's got a chain brake tool on it. So. I'm going to go out to the second notch, like so. Yeah, let's see which one. No matter what we're breaking. I don't think it matters. Just gonna crank this till the pin pops out. Now I have a chain brake tool, my Park recovery tool, but I don't use that one as often because it's such a nicer one. So take that pin, throw it there. Wind this guy back out. As you can see, now the hands are groovy. Absolutely filthy. So the chain's going to go in there. And here's what our front mech looks like. As you can see, there's a lot of rust on it. Been sitting out a lot. Just absolutely looks like garbage. So we're going to go to a better system altogether, 9-speed. It's going to solve a lot of problems this guy had. This was just a cheapy Altus system. So that's why I recommend you get nitro gloves. Always have a rag. Keep one rag that has oil all over it because it will rub the grease, most of the heavy, thick grease off your hands if it has a tiny bit of oil, because the oil will absorb the heavy gunk. Because a lot of the grease that you're going to have on your bike is grease and dirt from outside. It's not going to be just plain grease. So. Okay. So, I'm going to take our gloves, put them off to the side now. And we got our parts still in our tote there, a little bit of tote. So, next thing we want to do is I want to get the rest of the cables out. Okay. So, I already started pulling cables here. Got a cable there. Now, if you notice, the outer cables, they run a specific way. So you have outer cable here, and you have outer cable here. So, and being, let me get a better picture for you. Being that this is a mountain bike, unlike a road bike, they don't run all the cables are going to run along the top tube. They're not running down the bottom tube on this bike. So as you can see, my cables are a little bit restricted by my stand, my bike stand here. But that's okay. So we're going to save these inner cables. I don't really know how bad they are. If they are bad, we're going to save them. So for right now, so I'm going to pull them out. Yeah, we're going to clean them off, oil them up, and they should be good. So you can see here, 2 outer cables with ferrules crimped on them. So we're going to reuse those guys. We're going to lift up there, and we should be able to pull out from here. And there's no and on this bike there's no internal cable routing. Now, are we going to redo the brake cables? Yes, because we're going to be putting new brake levers on. The set we're getting has shifters. These have combination brake lever shifters, and this clicks here like so, and it clicks like this, okay? So the other piece just clicks back and forth. And then, like so. So we're going to be getting new inexpensive shift levers, or brake levers, I should say. Okay, but we still want to. And what had happened is somebody had crossed all these anyways. It's good probably that we're replacing everything. So getting our shift cables out of the way. These guys, I forget how they come out, but we're going to figure that out. So, get these cables out of here. Not that it really matters. Now, these cables aren't frayed, so we could probably clean them off and reuse them, but I want some stainless steel ones. We're going to updo the bike a little bit, make it a lot better. I want to make everything a little bit nicer. So for right now, we got that off. We're going to be taking off our, let's see here, come around to the brakes. Oh, by the way, put this back there. There we go. Just back in there. So, brake cable wise, probably redo those as well. So, let's see here. We're going to be taking off the forks, by the way. We're going to take off the forks, the steer, everything. Everything's fine. Everything's in good shape, but I just want to take everything off. Kind of redo how everything is. As you can see, external cable here. But we're going to kind of be redoing some of this cabling. So, on the frame. So, let's start next, I think, let's do, I don't know if I want to do the handlebars just yet. Let's see here. Well, I'm going to remove the brakes here. Brake pads. And again, 5mm. For brakes. Almost all the pinch bolts I think on mountain bikes are going to be 5mm. Pretty sure. Now one thing with this is we could take off these, remove these without removing the brake lines. And just keep them in the cables. In fact, I think that's kind of what we're going to do. So, I'm going to remove the handlebars next. So I'm going to remove everything from the fork. So, I'll drop stuff here. So I'm going to remove the brake, front brake, rear brake. This is a, what's that, 3mm? Where's that for? 3mm. So I remove the brakes and leave them with, because I don't know if I'm going to replace the cables themselves, the inner cables for the brakes just yet. Might run with them, but I want to take the fork off. I want to remove the fork and kind of adjust everything. And these brake pads have gotten slightly rusty. So take out the brake pads. We're gonna clean this guy out. These are just some Tektro, basic Tektro brakes. Nothing super fancy, but we're gonna do that for now. I'm gonna come to the back where the bike. Make sure we remove both bolts from the brakes. Oh, this back one I could have removed the whole brake mount itself, but I'm not going to do that. And you have these little clamps, these tiny little plastic clamps. We got to remove those too. So for those, we got our Allen here. I'll come over and grab a small flathead, about this size. And these are just little plastic clips. I don't want to ruin these. Put them down with the rest of the brake clips. There's a mountable, a screw-on brake clip here. Sorry folks if I'm in the way, I just gotta get these off. There we go. Release this. Put that out. That's that back in place, and now we have brakes. So the only thing we have attached to the handlebars are going to be our brakes, and now we're going to take off our handlebars. We're going to come up here and see what we have. So our stem is a standard stem, fortunately, and we are going to be using a 4mm. I believe these are steel bars. I don't know if they're aluminum or not. So, lots of steel bolts. So I'm going to be replacing a lot of the stuff with aluminum. Yeah, lots of gunk in there. Plan is to order some nice titanium bolts here. Now once you remove the two top from the stem, the bottom two should be loose. Normally I wouldn't pull them like this because we're removing everything, just pulling everything apart on the bike. So now we got our bar off. We're gonna take this, throw it in our bucket. It's got some surface rust, but it's not rusting itself. It's just the fact that it's what happens with aluminum comes in contact with steel. Okay, so our bar is off. Now we want to get taking some spacers off and take off the top cap here. There we go. There we have our. So the fronts are 4, the back's 5, top cap's 5 on the Diamondback, on the mountain bike. There goes the fork on my toe. So, I forgot how loose this thing was. Fortunate it didn't fully hit my toe. Okay, let's see here. So we got a number of pieces here, which we gotta grab. So we got, these are what's called cage bearings, right there. Let me take the stem off. So these have what's called cage bearings. They're not free bearings, they're inside a cage. Take our spacers, get our spacers out of the way. And we have cage bearings at the top. Now, fortunately, these are the same size bearings. So you don't have to worry about which ones go at the top, which ones go at the bottom. The only thing you have to remember on bearings like this is, as you can see here, you have a top portion of the cage and then you have the bearing portion, and the bearing portion is going to go along the inner side of the race. So when this goes up into it, you're going to drop this along the fork. So I'll show you here. Take these plastic pieces and throw them in our bucket. Everything's lube cleaned. So you got your fork here, and your bearings would go like this. They're going to sit They're like so. A lot of people, they look at it and go, oh, the bearing's got to sit right there. But you don't have a race down here. You do have a race inside the top and lower portion of the actual headset itself. Kind of set that there. See, if I wanted to, I could put either one in either spot. Either way, it doesn't matter. Either set of these bearings go anywhere. So I'm going to take the bearings and pull out my little drawer here that I have my down here. I got my little thing for my bearings and stuff for my chains that I'm cleaning them in. I'm going to do that. Actually take the erases and everything else. I'll erase as well, just so keep them separated. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a fork removed. We want to okay. So a couple things that you want to do